Hi there, Christie here from Freezer Meals 101. I want to show you my setup of my vermiculture worm bin for composting. It's not super freezer meals related, I realize that, but last fall I did a harvest of my herb garden and we showed you Charlotte's herb garden, and so this is kind of hand in hand with that. So I'm going to show that video right there if you want to see it. This is me setting up my worm bin. I hope you enjoy it, and gosh, if you are a worm bin person, give me some tips because I'm new here and I am figuring this stuff out. Thanks.
I had been thinking about where to put my worm bin for a while. I knew it was important to have it in a place that is convenient in order for me to use it regularly. And for me that meant it had to be close to my kitchen. This closet backs onto my kitchen, so I decided it would be best to put it here rather than in the basement or in the garage. The problem was that it needed a bit of a remodel. I had my son help me with cutting wood shelves and braces, and I installed them for my new worm bin. I put cupboard liner on the shelf that would hold the worms in case of spills or moisture or escapees. I had used MDF, so it was important that the shelf stay dry. Next, I had to prepare my bin. I had read that using shredded cardboard and newsprint mixed with coconut coir and dirt was a good start, so I got my handy shredder out and put the poor thing through its paces. Shredding the cardboard was tough, but the newsprint was much easier. The coconut coir I used was just in my garden shed, and it was the fine silty kind rather than the stringy fiber kind, but I think they'll eat it just the same. Now that it's all mixed together, I've added a bit of water and my bin is back home in the closet.
Hi, so my worm lady called. I was under my dryer. I have a hood dryer. For those that don't know, I mean, obviously I have curly hair, but I follow the curly girl method where you either air dry it or use a diffuser so that you can leave your curls to do their thing without getting frizzy. So a long time ago, I thrifted a hood dryer from a hairdresser who was selling it, and so I have one in my room and it's a nice treat. But now my face is all red and I have no makeup on. I'm going out tonight. But my worm lady called while I was under my dryer and she's like, come get the worms. So I'm on my way. Luckily, she is like 2 kilometers from my house, so it is a quick 5-minute drive. I'm going there now. Her name is Christine. I've never met her, but it doesn't matter. Worm people, we get each other. Gardeners get each other. So I'm going to pick up these red wigglers. They are a type of earthworm from what I can tell. And I mean, there's a guy in the Horticultural Society group that I'm in on Facebook that was talking about identifying them based on how many segments are ahead of the band, and like, he knows stuff about composting. So these are red wigglers. I could use night crawlers as well. There's a few different kinds we could use here. It's hard to keep them alive over winter in Alberta, which is why I'm doing just an indoor, small scale, little worm farm. 109, we have to go to 218, we're getting there. And it'll be a good experiment. She's giving them to me for free. I said I just needed a handful because they'll make more. If I feed them, they'll make more worms. And then maybe someday I can pass along a handful to Charla. Do you think Charla will want a worm farm at our house? I doubt it. I will be in charge of the worms for me and Charla. And but I would give them to anybody if they're in the area and they needed some worms. That is 157. Those are really tiny. They need a bigger sign. Or I'm old, but it's not that. Oh, this might be it. So I got the worms. She gave me a little bucket of them, and she also gave me a book, and it's called Worms, Eat My Garbage by Mary Applehoff, and she loaned it to me so that I can read it and give it back to her. And we're trying to think of a name of it. I am leaning towards Wormityville, like the Amityville Horror, or Charla said Wormageddon. We're not too far from a town out here called Wetaskiwin, so we were calling it Wormtaskiwin. So there's a few options. All right, here's my worms. Here's my worm farm. We're gonna start on the right because because I just chose it arbitrarily. No worms left. And so there they are. There's a few. They're not... I'm a glove gardener. I don't like the feel of dirt in my fingernails, and I don't love running into unsuspecting worms. Ooh, well, look it. She gave me a chunk of celery. So look at that. Oh, that's a fat guy, hey? That is a fat guy. So these are red wigglers. And she gave me some dirt. Oh, I even got a rock. So I'll add more stuff in there. I have some scraps for them. They even eat like eggshells. Anything but citrus things they can eat. So I have orange peels, but I won't put those in there, but they can have apples and potato peels, and I've been saving some in my freezer to give them when they get here because I'm just so excited about my stupid worms.
As you can see, I ended up moving my bin to the floor. It was a bit cumbersome to get the lid off in order to evenly discard my food scraps when it was on the shelf. Also, I added some air holes with a drill for some circulation. Worms can only do their thing in an aerobic environment, and I have been reading the book that I got from Christine. I'll put a link in the description below if you want to check it out, and I have been learning a lot. I am attempting to just do the scraps on one side and letting it compost, and then starting on the other side. However, if it's too messy or inconvenient, I may just start a second bin and rotate them.
Okay, here I am, my glamorous worm bin closet that I redid. Boy, you got a tour of the whole place today. I hope you enjoyed it. I will check back, I promise. We will look at it again in 6 months. I am reading the book. I am learning a lot of things, so I will be sure to share these things with you if you are interested. We're glad that you joined us today, and hopefully that you can just keep on cooking and getting your freezer stacked. Have a really great day.